Also, details on LeBron James, a lifelong Yankees fan, buying into the Red Sox.
Wow.
But first, the Bears have made a move for a quarterback, and it's not Russell Wilson, like you said, El. It's Andy Dalton. Yeah, we can hear them from Chicago. More on the breaking news leading off SportsCenter. Day 2 of the NFL's free agent negotiating period, and the Bears coming to terms on a one-year deal with Dalton for at least $10 million. Last season with the Cowboys, Dalton was 4-5 as a starter. After Dak Prescott suffered that season-ending broken ankle, he completed 65% of his passes, but his yards per attempt was the lowest of his 10-year career. And the Cowboys, they missed the playoffs. The Bears have made some curious QB moves recently. 2017, they signed Mike Glennon, also traded 3 picks away to move up 1 spot to take Mitchell Trubisky. Last year, they traded a 4th rounder to get Nick Foles and his big contract. Today, they add Andy Dalton to the mix on a 1-year contract. Much more. Let's bring in NFL insider Adam Schefter. And Adam, I can hear Chicago fans losing their mind right now. Why are the Bears bringing in Andy Dalton?
Couple of things here, Kevin. First and foremost, let's start with the elephant in the room, right? Russell Wilson listed, or his agent listed, the Bears as one of the places that Russell Wilson would accept a trade to with a no-trade clause in his contract. Well, I'm told that the Chicago Bears made a quote-unquote very aggressive pursuit. Those were the exact words that were used to me, a very aggressive pursuit to try to pry loose Russell Wilson from the Seahawks, and they were told that the Seahawks were not interested in trading Russell Wilson at this time. Now, that doesn't mean eventually, next month, next year, whenever it may be, that Seattle won't eventually trade Russell Wilson, but the Bears were finding it such that the Seahawks were unwilling to budge right now. And the Seahawks also, or the Bears also liked Andy Dalton at this time. Andy Dalton was on the market. Andy Dalton had other interested teams. And the Bears decided to get a deal done with Andy Dalton today, that 1-year contract that we talked about, $10 million, another few million in incentives to become the Chicago Bears starting quarterback. Now, I know Nick Foles is there, but I think Dalton goes in there as the guy that's going to wind up being the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears. And ultimately, the Bears put everything they could into trying to trade for Russell Wilson. We're told it wasn't going to happen, and moved on to the next option, which they found to be Andy Dalton. And they thought that Andy Dalton was a quarterback that they wanted to bring in. So that's what happened, basically. No on Russell Wilson, yes on Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton becomes the favorite to become the Bears starting quarterback this season.
Let's go back to Seattle. How much momentum right now features Russ staying with the Seahawks long-term here entering the season?
Well, here's what I would say to you, Kevin. You're the Seattle Seahawks, and you're in a situation where the quarterback is open to a trade. If you're moving off the face of the franchise, a player as great as Russell Wilson, you have to take time and investigate the quarterback prospects that are out there. There was no combine this year for the Seahawks to go to. There's not a lot of college tape. Interviews are curtailed. And so all the work that they'd like to do to know, hey, we really like Justin Fields. We really like Trey Lance. We really like Zach Wilson. We really like whoever it is. They haven't done as much work as they'd like to be comfortable to trade Russell Wilson. And I don't know if they ever will get to the point that they will be comfortable trading Russell Wilson. But to date, they've not said, we're not trading Russell Wilson publicly, but they essentially rejected the Bears' advances, with the Bears holding the 20th pick in the draft.
And we saw that list, that graphic just showed the 4 teams that were preferred destinations from Russell's camp. We will see how this plays out. The rest of a very busy offseason. Adam Schefter with the very latest on free agency.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.